Jabba's Palace, otherwise known as Lego Set 4480, was released in 2003. It retailed for $29.99 and had 234 pieces, including 6 minifigures. This was not technically the first Jabba-related Lego set. That honor would go to the Desert Skiff set from the year 2000. But it was Lego's first attempt at representing Jabba, Jabba-related characters, or his palace. A look at the back of the box might be interesting for people who are only familiar with modern Lego sets. The design is really quite different. Up top it shows a few of the set's features, but it also devotes some space to photos from Return of the Jedi, which is something that I don't think modern sets would ever do. Below that is a sort of advertisement for the T-16 Skyhopper set, which came out at the same time. To the right of that, it shows the small expansion sets that were also available. We'll be getting to those in just a bit. One other interesting thing is that they show another completely unrelated model that you could build with the pieces from this set. In this case, a biplane and air traffic control tower, complete with Slave Leia guiding Luke in for a landing. Before we look at the set itself, let me introduce the minifigures it came with. First is Jabba himself. It's an interesting design. By this point, the idea that Jabba is primarily green had taken hold, apparently, which I still find odd. For some reason, his tail is made up of 2 pieces, allowing for some posability, I guess. He has arms and hands just like a regular minifigure. There's no paint or other details whatsoever, but that fit with the general Lego aesthetic of the time. For some reason, he also has a belly button, which is hilarious. The lack of any pupils in the eyes can make it a bit creepy, but overall, I find it pretty cute. One other major difference compared to modern sets is that LEGO was still using their traditional yellow minifigure design at this point, even for licensed characters like Slave Leia here. It's a little jarring to see this if you're used to the more realistic colors and paint jobs that they use today. She came with a little collar and chain, although I think the chain the set originally came with was gray. The set also came with a yellow version of Jedi Luke. Unfortunately, I don't know where mine is, so I'm having to substitute a more recent version of the character. The other minifigures the set comes with are all droids, which seems a little odd since most people probably associate Jabba's palace with aliens rather than droids. First is Evie 99, which has the same basic body design as the LEGO battle droids. I'm not a big fan of this design as it's very light and, yes, easy to knock over. Plus, it just doesn't look that great. The arms move at the shoulders, but lack separate hands, and the legs are all one piece, which further limits posability. Still, I do like that they included this character. They also included a gonk droid to give Evie 99 something to torture, presumably. It's a cute design, but as much as I love gonks, I probably would have preferred a different character that's specific to Jabba's palace. At least it does include a hidden compartment large enough for something like a lightsaber. Finally, we have the Bomar Monk, which is actually a pretty good choice, in that it can be completely created from existing LEGO parts, such as samurai swords, which serve as the legs in this case. I suppose this isn't technically a droid, since it's actually a disembodied brain of one of the monks who used to inhabit Jabba's palace. They still roam around the palace, pondering the mysteries of the universe, largely oblivious to the crime lord's presence there. As for the rest of the set, it's a little small for a palace, but of course it's only 234 pieces. It consists of Jabba's throne at the top, which can be reached by stairs on either side. The throne is a little on the plain side, but it does come with a neon green hookah pipe and frog bowl, complete with the cutest little froggy snack. There's a trap door in front of the throne that can trap unwary guests and send them down to, well, nothing, since LEGO didn't include a Rancor or anything else to go in the pit, and never even made a Rancor figure until many years later. Many people ended up using the Rock Monster figure from an earlier Rock Raiders set as their Rancor. The bottom of the set splits open to reveal the Rancor pit, such as it is, and the droid torture chamber area. That's about it in terms of features, but we can't forget about the 2 additional sets that were designed to attach to either side of the palace. With these in place, it does start to look a little bit more impressive. First, we'll take a look at Jabba's Message, or LEGO set number 4475. This set was released alongside the palace in 2003 for $6.99 and has just 44 pieces. This represents the door to Jabba's palace and includes 3 minifigures: C-3PO, R2-D2, and Bib Fortuna. The droids were available in other sets, so the Bib Fortuna figure was probably the main draw for this set. This set allows you to recreate the moment when the droids knocked on Jabba's door, to be answered by Jabba's droid doorman, which is included as well. The door slides open to allow the droids to enter. And that's about it. The other expansion is Jabba's Prize, LEGO set number 4476. This was also released in 2003 for $6.99 and has 39 pieces. It comes with a palace archway, with Han and Carbonite on display, Boba Fett, and a Gamorrean guard. The Boba Fett minifigure is also in the older, simpler style, and comes armed with a mighty megaphone, I guess? His helmet and backpack are all one piece and can be removed to reveal a completely blank head. The Gamorrean was first introduced in this set, and is very reminiscent of the Jabba figure in that it has no paint on it at all. He kind of wears his head and torso like a piece of clothing, and he's armed with a rather large axe. Of course, we can't forget about old Han himself. Even though he's just a slab, you can remove him from the alcove by pressing this button. He doesn't look too happy to be there for some reason. By the way, I should mention that since I started making this video, I noticed for the first time that I'm missing the 2 torches that are supposed to go on either side of the alcove. No idea what happened to those. One other thing I should mention is how these attach to the main palace set. You insert the connector pieces into the holes on the expansion sets to attach them, but this means that you can't pick up the set without this happening. This makes transporting these sets a pain in their completed form. So what's my verdict on these sets? They do look good on display, but it's also true that there's very little about them that actually looks like Jabba's palace from the movie. The very top of the roof and the arches are about the only elements that actually remind me of the palace, while things like the iron bars on the front and the stairs seem like they could just as easily have come from a medieval castle. They also reused a lot of figures from other sets instead of giving us characters unique to the palace, which is a bit of a shame. If you're a big Jabba fan like me, or just like some of the older LEGO sets, this might be worth picking up, although they're not particularly cheap on the secondary market. But the average person would be better off getting the second Jabba's Palace set from nearly a decade later. But more on that in another video. Thanks very much for watching.